What's up, everybody? This is Petro with ApexLighting.com, and today we have LED waterproof ribbon. Alright, so what we have here today is our waterproof LED ribbon spool. This comes in a 16-foot spool, and it is waterproof from marine grade cable and coating and everything. So this comes in a 16-foot spool, and it is cuttable every 2 inches. Right? I'll show you in a bit how you cut that. We do have it available in a cool white, which is a pure white. Looks good on the outside against fiberglass. We have it in a warm white. Warm white looks good on the interior, has a little bit of warmish color. And then we do have it in blue as well. That looks good for just accent a little bit everywhere. These spools come in 12 volt DC. They draw about 1.5 watts per foot, so about 24 watts for a total spool, which is not much. You will, since they're 12 volt DC, you will need to connect these to a 12 volt battery on the boat, truck, or wherever you're putting these. Or you will need a power supply, an LED driver. So if your power source is 120 AC, like in a household, you'll need to get a little power supply that we have available on the website, which will drop your voltage down to 12 volt DC, basically simulating a battery. They're dimmable, so if you need to dim them, you can put these, connect them to a low voltage dimmer, or if you're using a power supply, you'll need to get a 12 volt DC dimming power supply, which we also have available, and I'll link them below in the description. Like I said, each spool is 16 feet, and they have cable on both ends, so you can daisy chain multiple spools to get longer runs. However, the maximum you can do is about 3 spools or 50 feet. After 50 feet or so, you can get voltage drop, right? So meaning if you put 12 volt DC here at the beginning, and you were to connect 5-6 spools, say 100 feet, by the time you get to over 50 feet, your voltage will be 7 or 8 volts, and the lights will be very dim. So maximum of 3 spools or 50 feet. If you needed to do a longer run, let's say you need to connect 6 spools or about 100 feet, what you'll have to do is in the middle, you'll have to inject power again, right? So you're gonna connect 12 volt DC power here, and then run a wire about 48, 50 feet down the line, and inject another 12 volt DC there, or at the opposite end. You can actually feed 12 volt DC both ways. That way your voltage doesn't really drop, below 11 point something volts. So cutting it, let me open up the spool real quick and show you. All right, so if you needed 2 8-foot sections, for example, right? You'll measure out the distance, and then you can cut it every 2 inches. So every 2 inches, there's a little brass. You can see little brass connections with a line. You're gonna want to cut on the line, right? Close up. Right here, right? Because you want to save some brass terminals on either ends in case you ever had to reconnect it. So you also don't want to damage a circuit. So that's the only spot you can cut it. So in this case, I've ended up with 2 8-foot sections. Each section has wire leads, so you don't need to put any new leads. The only thing you need to do, and we've now exposed the waterproof jacket to the elements, so we need to waterproof it again. So you'll purchase a little end cap, and what you'll do is you put a little bit of clear silicone or any kind of adhesive in it. I like to use clear silicone. Put it on top, and that'll seal the end so moisture can't get inside. So we've now created 2 8-foot sections. Great. Let me get rid of this one. All right. Now, if you needed to cut more pieces, right? So let's say I needed to cut this one again in the middle to have a 4-foot section. What's gonna happen is this piece here, if I were to cut it, doesn't have any wire leads. All right, now you're gonna get this lead wires that we have available. Slide this inside like this, making contact, close it, waterproof this area with heat shrink or an adhesive, and now you have some cables. Another way of doing it, if you're putting this outside and you want it to be very reliable, is you could just solder some connections. So you have these two little terminals right here. Just solder two wires onto these, and then you have a permanent connection that won't come loose. All right, so that's how we splice it. You could solder, or you could use these things. As far as actually, if you had to join two sections together for some reason, maybe you have an old section or that was defective and you want to splice in another piece, you can use this connector. This will basically join two connections together. Close it here, connect the next one. So this is how to connect two sections together. All right, now mounting it. You have a few options. It does have 3M double-sided tape on the back, as you could use a 3M to mount it in your location. But then I will put some clips every foot or so, like this, to make sure that even in the hot weather on the outside, the glue doesn't get soft. So make sure you don't put the clips over the LEDs, just put them in between. A couple of stainless steel screws. Now, if you're putting it inside the boat or inside your house, you may not need clips. Another nice mounting way is we have these 4-foot long channels. So if you're trying to do a really straight line and you want it to be perfectly straight, you would screw these down or glue them down, but I like to screw them down with stainless steel screws. Use the adhesive on the back, but these also snap into the track snug. So now you have the tape on the back as well as the friction fit in the track. You see how they, even without the adhesive, they're stuck in there. And this gives you a little bit of protection as well. It does not have a lens, but it is nicely protected. So, all right, so this is the dimmable LED driver. So if you're planning on dimming these and using them on 120 volt AC, you will connect the low voltage side here. Your 110 would connect to this side, and this would connect to a dimmer on the wall. So a standard household dimmer on the input, or a 0 to 10 volt here, and would actually dim these. And that's it. It's pretty straightforward.